Okay. And then the part two would be to reduce the number of organizations that are required to be present in the SGA meetings in order to conduct official business. Now, what I mean by this is that we have two articles in the Constitution. I know this is a lot of words right now, so just bear with me. You don't have to read all of it. I'm going to try to explain it in a simple way. We'll see how it goes. So, Article 2 in the Constitution that talks about quorum defines it as a simple majority of recognized organization representatives who choose to participate, choose to participate, shall constitute a quorum for conducting official business, right? And there's another section of the Constitution that was actually an amendment that explains the funding criteria. It says that attendance in at least 51% of the SGA meetings for the academic year is what's necessary for a student organization to be eligible for funds. So clearly, the Constitution as it stands right now is defining participation in SGA meetings as somebody who attends at least 50% or half of our SGA meetings. So our idea is to count the number of student organizations that have been present for at least 50% of our SGA meetings, and a simple majority of that number will be our quorum. Does that make sense? So if there's like 10 organizations that never showed up, they would not be a part of quorum, because in order to be a part of quorum, you have to have attended at least 50% of our meetings, which is how we consider you somebody who chooses to participate. So I'm going to recap that. This helps us define organizations that choose to participate as organizations that attend 50% or more SGA meetings. So that's going to be our definition for organizations that participate. I know it's a lot of words, guys, but essentially we'll be able to go through our attendance logs and count the number of organizations that have attended at least half of our SGA meetings so far. That will be the number of organizations choosing to participate. A simple majority of that number will be our new quorum, which is 50% plus one. I know that was a lot of words. Are there any questions? I kind of want to see y'all's faces. Oh, wait, no one has their camera on. But
I have a question.
yes.
So in terms of the 50% rule, I guess, when would that be like the starting point? Like each semester or like a year?
The whole year. So like starting from the beginning of the year to now, anybody that has attended at least half of our SGA meetings is considered an organization that chooses to participate.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No problem. Are there any further questions? Questions help other people understand as well. And I don't want to, I want to make sure, because the thing is, you guys need to be like, oh yeah, this is a good idea, or no, I don't like this idea. And then we can move forward. But I don't want to have y'all make a decision on something that you don't fully understand. So if there are any questions, please feel free to voice them. Nobody? Excellent idea. Well, props to Brandon. It was, I think, his idea originally. Senator.
Yeah, I think it'll work out to, like you said, help us define what participating is, and then that way the people who are showing up to the meetings will be represented in their vote. So
Yeah. So this, my friends, is idea number one. Now we move on to idea number two, right? But I'm gonna have Derek do that because that's enough talking for me. No, I'm just kidding. I think he can explain it a little bit better than I can.
Okay, so idea number two, it kind of could correlate with what Hiba has with idea number one. And it's basically a suspension of the rules. So before I get into that, I'm going to give you like a brief overview. Okay, so there's this thing called Robert's Rules of Order, and that's basically how meetings are, designed and operated, an organization. So it kind of tells you how meetings work with making motions, or whether it be how you do your agenda, parliamentary things like that. Okay, so most organizations unofficially adopt Robert's Rules of Order because it's much easier. than to make your own, SGA rules of order. It's like the unspoken rule that everyone operates under Robert's Rules of Order. Okay. And the Constitution and bylaws under Article 2, it's the very first section, and I'm going to put it in the chat here. It says that fall and spring semesters, the Student Government Association shall meet every Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., beginning the first week of the semester and continuing through the third week of November for fall and the third week of April for springs. The Student Government Association will not meet during spring break. So, when we have ballots out for these constitutional or bylaw amendments, it has to be on the floor. It can't be something that we do like with like our vice president candidates or our presidential candidates. It's not something that we can leave open for the whole week. However, there's this thing that that's called the suspension of the rules, is where we suspend one part of a rule in order to do something that it would not otherwise allow. Okay. So we could make a suspension of the rule. So it would be a motion, and they make a motion to suspend that specific part of the Constitution and bylaws. And that would allow for us to not adjourn the meeting, but keep it at recess. And when we say keep it at recess, it means that meeting is still going on, but it's not officially ended yet. And we would keep it going all the way until the next meeting date, probably like 10, 15 minutes before the next meeting, and allow the ballot for the constitutional amendments to stay open for a whole week. So that's something that we can think about if anyone has any questions or clarifications. I know sometimes I've been trying to explain it like 4 times and some people still get confused. So I would be more than happy to answer any questions.
Somebody said, other than voting, are there any other factors to indicate participation, as in donation drives and vigils, etc.? So unfortunately, I still have a house phone. I know it's very weird, but unfortunately, sorry, Mr. Denny, do you have a house phone?
He thought that was very funny.
Okay, so basically, I was answering the question. The reason why we can't use drives or vigils as a form of participation is because we haven't had nearly enough to be able to calculate that this organization is always, supporting our drives, and so therefore they're choosing to participate. We have essentially only had one donation drive this whole year, and it was very, very small scale that I did like 2 weeks ago, and we had one candlelight vigil, and I don't think it's fair to all student organizations on campus to determine their participation in student government by whether or not they attended a random event, So this is why we're using this, and it's also the fact that the Constitution outlines participation and it emphasizes the importance of attending at least half of the SGA meetings. So we're trying to follow that same train of thought. Also, no matter what you do, people are still going to be unhappy. However, people have no idea what Robert's rules are, would be more upset with the idea. 2, idea 1 is using the Constitution and making it harder/easier to utilize it to the SGA's advantage. Troy, do you want to explain that a little?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know what Robert's rules are, and it wasn't until last administration when they tried to update the SGA Constitution that I finally learned about Robert's rules. And so that might just be a single case scenario, but there was also quite a few other people who just did not know what Robert's rules are, and it's a very, the whole document is a very long document, and quite a few people are not going to read that whole thing. However, your idea, Heba, is using the Constitution and what it says and playing against that gray area to allow you to justify what participation means.
Yeah.
I think overall, people are more satisfied with what your idea is and using the Constitution, because it's like, well, the Constitution says this, and this is how we're going to interpret it, and that's kind of the whole point of having an administration and Senate and people to see read what the Constitution says and utilize it to your best ability.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope people like this idea too. Let's see. Oh, I love when people give their input. The first method seems like we're just reinterpreting the Constitution. Is there an official process for that, or is it just subjective? The second method seems to be a more radical reinterpretation. The Constitution defines hour-long meetings. Robert's rules is a standard world over. As was stated, it significantly simplifies meeting procedures as every possible scenario that an organization can encounter. Robertson's rules has both one, already addressed it, and two, has been tested over time. Nice. Thanks, Mr. Denny. But
Yeah, Robert's Rules of Order is actually a whole book. It's
that's so
very extensive.
ridiculous. Like I think that's so ridiculous, honestly. If I wasn't in SGA, I would never use Robert's Rules of Order. What is all this? Why is somebody else telling me how to run my meeting? Anyways, but what are y'all's thoughts? So, okay, everybody that's here, I would like to hear from you guys. Either put in the chat or something. Do y'all like idea one more where we yes, Roberto?
So I guess I'm just a bit confused. Are we only using one idea or we're using both? Like,
Oh, that's what I was about to ask, right? So like, do you guys think that we should use one idea or both, right? What are your thoughts?
But use the poll.
There's a poll.
Yeah, use the poll. You know, the icon in the bottom.
Would it be possible if we do extend it for a week of voting to also extend it to have the SGA rep and the president have the ability to vote, or we're just going to leave it at one person?
For that piece, that's why we did the like the organization will give us a name of somebody who's available during that time. So that way, like, that won't be an issue that the president isn't available. Somebody who is available in advance is already aware. Okay, it seems like everybody's liking idea one. And Abram, I'm not sure where to find the poll feature. Yeah, okay. It seems like a lot of people like the first idea. So, I mean, I think we can go with that. Interesting. Thank you all for your feedback and participation in this conversation, because it's y'all's idea, that y'all's input that really matters. I think idea, but I think I like idea one, but I think we should be careful of the precedent of unofficially voting on reinterpretation of the Constitution. This is true, but we are in like a state of emergency, I will not lie. Restating option one. So option one is basically we redefine what quorum is. So we take the organizations that are choosing to participate, and we are defining choosing to participate as those organizations that attend at least 50% of our SGA meetings. That is also the criteria for student organizations to be eligible for funding. So we're using that as the new number for quorum, if that makes sense. So we will take a simple majority of the number of organizations that choose to participate, and that will be our new quorum. Yes, Troy.
So when Hiba says all this stuff, she's just presenting it to the student body. She's not the one that actually is like, I'm president, this is what we're going to do. It's a whole group effort with her and her team, between the SGAEC, the directors, and the Senate, that come up with this idea, and they agree upon it, and then they present it to us to discuss it, and that's what we're doing right now.
Yes, exactly. And so again, it's not my decision to make, it's y'all's decision to make. So You guys are, it seems like you guys like the idea number one, so we can do that. There are a lot of people here today.
Can
Hello.
you,
Yes.
hello.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, can you please restate idea 2?
Okay. So idea 2 was essentially to suspend the rules for a week. So like the SGA meetings are supposed to be from Tuesday 11:30 to 12:30. So we were saying, what if we suspend the rules so that way the meeting is at recess instead of ending at 12:30, and it ends the next week after that meeting ends at 12:30. So it's essentially a week-long meeting, which allows voting to be open for the whole week to allow more people to participate in voting.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Do you
Oh.
have any questions? I hope that was a clear explanation.
I have one question about rule or idea 2. So you said it would extend voting for a whole week. How would people vote during that week? Or would they have to come back for like the second meeting to place that vote?
No, it would still be through the online ballots. It
Yeah.
is just,
Okay.
the meeting hasn't been adjourned. We're just at recess. So
Okay.
it would
I
allow
think
those ballots to stay open for a whole week to allow more
Okay.
people the flexibility of logging in online, getting involved and submitting their ballot.
That makes more sense. I do like the idea 1 more just because I feel like it's more stringent and will allow for changes to occur later on as well by just changing what is considered quorum. So next time you won't have to suspend the rules again. It'll just be a new quorum.
All right. Christelle.
I think idea 1 is probably better, but I think idea 2 could be useful in times of like when we're voting on like major changes, like when we're voting on like the budget, like doing things that are going to affect the student body more profoundly as a whole. Like if we're just approving like fund requests and stuff, I think keeping it to just the quorum, the 51% of like the idea 1 voting would be good for like fund request and like slight changes to the Constitution. But for things like the budget thing, where it's like really big changes to like how the university operates, making sure that it's more open to make sure that like maybe there are so that way we get the most student input as possible. I don't know if that made sense.
That does make sense. Somebody said that they like option 2 because it allows more people to participate who are not available Tuesday 11:30 to 12:30. Also, if you change quorum, I feel like that's more complicated. The thing about it though is that y'all don't really know what quorum is. Most of y'all just show up and we tell you guys if we reach quorum or not. So it's really a number for us to see if like, okay, yeah, we have enough people. Now we can continue with our official business. That's really what it is. And so far it's been stopping us. Like that's been we've been running into that wall again and again where we can't do any official business because we're not meeting quorum. I don't think more people would vote if we went with idea 2. We've asked and reminded over and over and gotten very little response. I agree, Marissa. I can't imagine that extending the meeting is going to attract more people who already are not participating anyways. Yeah, exactly. I feel like if they're not participating, they're not about to participate on a Saturday just because we opened it up for a whole week. I think idea 2 is unprecedented and risky. I mean, both of these ideas are unprecedented and risky, but I see where the support for idea 1 is coming from. All right. Does anybody have any more questions, comments, or concerns about this topic before we move on to our next agenda item? Patrick Cardenas.
Thank you, Hiba. So I just wanted to clarify as this group talks out these 2 options, and I think these are great conversation pieces, and I applaud the EC for looking into some other resolutions, both utilizing the current constitution and actually referring to Robert's Rules of Order, which actually is the guide for all types of meetings that are conducted. All the SGAs around the country and even locally and afar utilize that as the basis of how they conduct their business and their meetings. So it was good for this group to try to go back to, yes, what is considered a very thick and deep, dense book, but very valuable in terms of order when doing meetings to locate a potential solution, and that is the suspension option. So it was good for them to be able to demonstrate that and show that to the audience that that is something that could be of value when looking at the Robert's Rules of Order. Option one is more of the, yes, you are utilizing the Constitution as it is written at the moment. The EC did look for components of the Constitution that is written and is currently in place to best fit a solution that will work for this cohort for this year, considering the nature that we're in. In no way is it an invitation to conduct business here out, as we don't want to get into that mindset. We're just trying to find short fixes to get us through this year. Option one also, in a way, celebrates and recognizes those of you who have stuck it out with HIBA and the rest of the EC members throughout this SGA year, in the challenging year that we've had, by still continuing to attend meetings where other RSOs have just fallen short or have not attended at all. So that is where they were able to find two components of the Constitution, one in which Brandon mentioned before about how to interpret the terminology, one word specifically, participate. And then later on in the bylaws of the Constitution under funding guidelines, organizations, plural, maintaining 50% or more of attendance to even be considered for fund requests. Those items right there was kind of a aha, eureka moment to allow this group to somehow try to still find a way to conduct business by kind of reutilizing the terminology for this cohort for this year, considering the nature that we're in. So I applaud everybody for good conversations, good feedback, for the EC giving out these options for this group to consider. And so that's kind of another way to look more in depth about these options in this topic that we're talking about now.
Any further questions or comments on this topic before we move forward with our next agenda item? Going once, going twice, going thrice. All right. Please note that if you have any questions, feel free to just reach out. We're always open, you know. All right. Now we announce who our new VP Outreach and Communications is. Is anyone excited? Can y'all be excited? Can we get a drum roll or something? Like, it's Brandon! Congratulations, Brandon.
What? Thank you guys. Thank you everyone for voting. I appreciate that.
Do you have any other words?
Oh yeah.
I just put you on the spot. No, I'm just kidding. You can.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Really so excited to try to get started on some of the stuff that I was mentioning when I was putting together things that I wanted to work on. Kind of been talking with people and seeing different perspectives on how SGA is working and things that people are already working on. So I'm really excited to work with people on those things. Sorry, I am on the spot a little bit, but
well,
yeah.
Congratulations, Brandon. We're very excited to have you on our team. For those of y'all who don't know, Brandon has already been serving as a senator for this semester. This whole choosing to participate situation really did come from his brain. So he's going to be a good addition to our team. And you know what this means? At the beginning of like this semester, I had no team. And now it's like almost April. It's the end of March and I have a full team. We have Derek as my VP committee coordinator, Brandon as my vice president outreach and communications, and Abram as my VP administration. So very exciting and very grateful. Thank you guys. Patrick Cardenas, yes.
Yes, so congratulations, Brandon, and congratulations, Hiba, for now having a team of 4 EC membership. So that's great for us as we round out the end of this current year. But with that said, to everybody here in the room, sometime this week into next week, we will be rolling out applications for the EC positions for 2021 and 2022. So both existing EC members that may want to consider rerunning, audiences here, or other colleagues and classmates or across campus, please encourage them to consider a position in SGA, as well as any of our other fee-funded student organizations, Campus Activities Board, Mascot Program, and the Hawkesbury and Traditions Council. Thank you.
So I don't know much about CAB and the mascot program and the other stuff, but I do know a lot about Student Government Association. So if there is anybody here that is interested in running for any of the positions, wants this position or any of the other VP positions, please just let me know and like we can talk about it. Like if you're interested in knowing what the time commitment looks like, what the responsibilities look like, or what you'll have to do, then just let me know and we can talk about it, and I can walk you through what I do on a daily basis or what each position looks like, to give you whatever support you need. But please consider running. It's worth it. Okay. So congratulations, Brandon. I'm excited to have you on our team. Let me check the chat. All right. Oh, okay. So for those of you guys who are here today, if you're interested in joining my green committee, so I already talked about this once before, or actually I've talked about this like 10 times before, but I'm going to talk about it one last time. If you guys are interested in joining this green committee, where we're going to be a group of UHCL individuals that are working to increase the sustainability initiatives on campus, please let me know. Put your email in the chat box right now if you're interested. And then I will make a doodle, send it out to those individuals that are interested, and we can get together, me, and I think there's Dr. Kelling and Dr. Mukherjee who are already interested. I think I need a few students. So I would just like to have everyone together in one room so we can all meet and talk about it. If you're interested in Green Committee, let's make it happen. Oh yeah, Crystal, you're interested. I like forgot about your email. Yeah. Yes, perfect. So I will take all of those emails. I will send y'all a doodle sometime the end of this week, and we can figure out a time for all of us to meet and get this thing going. Yeah, I'm so happy. Thank you guys for your participation. It's always appreciated. All right. Now we have Derek Delgado talking about the diversity work group with Dr. Beavers. Dr. Aaliyah Beavers, not Dr. E.
Yeah, I got that mixed up. Okay, so the Race, Equity, and Inclusion Work Group is looking for new members to represent the perspectives of the UHCL student population. Some of these initiatives were actually like feeded from the town halls that were operated from SGA and hosted by SGA. But to give you a little bit more information, I'm actually going to turn it over to Dr. Beavers to give you some more information about that.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for allowing me to come and speak with you all. So yes, I'm one of the co-chairs of the Race, Ethnicity, Equity, and Inclusion work group or diversity work group. And these work groups did actually come from the town hall conversations and students basically wanting the institution to be addressing a variety of things. And so my co-chair, Reggie Jones, is also on the call. So Reggie, if you want to chime in on anything, please feel free to do so. So we did have, we started off, we did have 4 students who were represented on the committee, but unfortunately some of those folks had to step down and do other things. And we had some people who are graduating, so they want to be able to focus on that. So we're looking for student participants, and we wanted to bring it to you all first, and we're also going to have a message sent out, but we want some folks who may want to participate in this and who have some want to voice opinions, concerns. We are looking for anybody who really is is interested in this. So you don't have to come from a particular demographic. Our board of folks, the work group consists of a variety of different folks from faculty, staff, and a variety of offices on campus. So the work group was actually put together from Dr. Hart, and so he kind of oversees and facilitates and oversight. But we're really excited because we're going to be getting some money to do some things and to implement some programs. So we meet quarterly. Yes, so probably actually more like every 2 months, roughly. So what happens is we meet as a larger group, and then we also have some subcommittees. And so the subcommittees meet in between, and then we bring all of our information back to the group. So everybody's working as individuals in their subcommittees. And so you can come onto the committee and basically choose the areas that you want to work in. So we have some people who are focused on bringing more information about implicit bias, doing some implicit bias training. We have some folks who are working on pay equity. We have some folks who are working on what others, what faculty and staff are doing to make sure that their environments are inclusive. So there's a variety of different areas. It's not just one committee coming together to talk about things. So again, we're looking for students. We had 4 students originally. If 6 people want to come on, great. We are just looking for some students, and we wanted to make sure it wasn't like, all right, we have people who were just being selected. We want everybody to have the opportunity to join.
So Dr. Beavers, would you like for them to reach out directly to you, or would you like?
Yes, so
Okay.
let me put my information in the chat.
And while Dr. Beavers is doing that, I just wanted to say hi. I'm Reggie Jones. I'm another co-chair with Dr. Beavers for the Race Equity and Inclusion Work Group. And yeah, we really want you all to be a part of it. So please show your interest and get involved.
I was muted. I have a question, Dr. Beavers. Is there a list of faculty and staff participants available so students can know who they're going to work with?
Who they will work with. So we're actually in the process of putting that up on the website. So there will be a web page coming. But so off the top of my head right now, one of the faculty members, Dr. Lisa Jones is on there, Angie Monalongo, we've got Reggie, we've got Brian Mills from the Recreation and Wellness, we've got Cynthia on there.
Cynthia. Mm-hmm.
So those are the folks just off the top of my head, but there's plenty of others who are
I'll join. You can put me down.
Okay.
Nice. Yes.
I like those people. I like folks and Angie a lot. So
it is a great group of folks.
They really are.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm almost done with this SGA stuff anyways. No. I'm just kidding.
So yes, my email is there, and then I know that a message is going to go out to the community. So if you all, even if you want to talk with some of your membership or even some of your friends, because what we want is people who, because you all who are on this call right now are people who are already doing so much, and so we're also wanting to find maybe some of those students who aren't on committees or are on executive boards, but are looking to get involved in something. This is a perfect kind of ease into leadership positions. And so if there's people who you all would want to recommend, feel free to email those names to me and I can touch base with those students too.
Yeah, for sure. All right. We can also actually, I'll let you know when our next Senate meeting is coming up, so you can bring this up then as well. And maybe some senators might want to join. We have a few new senators as well. So
excellent.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Beavers.
Does anybody have any questions? Going once, going to, I can't see the chat right now. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no questions. All right. Now we have Reggie Jones giving his presentation.
Hey, all right, so I'm trying to share. It says it's disabled.
I guess that means you're not giving a presentation.
I guess so.
I guess you're just, it's over. Okay, do you have access
I
now?
do. So let me pull this up. All right, can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm here to talk to you guys about a couple of things. Well, first, I'm Reggie Jones. I'm the Senior Coordinator of Alumni Engagement and Annual Giving here at the university. And first, I want to talk to you about UACL Days of Giving. So Days of Giving is meant to support, first and foremost, student scholarships. We're building our fund so we can support student scholarships, but also so we can support faculty research efforts and help make improvements to the campus. So from April 7th to April 13th, we're going to have our Days of Giving. And there's other ways that students can get involved beyond just giving a monetary donation. So I wanted to talk a little bit about those. So we're going to have a blood drive on Wednesday, April 7th. Our goal is to get 15 donors. I believe right about now we're sitting at 6 or 7. So students, if you want to come and donate, you'll get a free t-shirt. They'll do some COVID antibody testing that'll be available a few days after you give. And it's really important to give blood now, especially with, the current climate we have with the pandemic. So please think about supporting us in the blood drive. We're also going to have a Hawk Pantry drive. So I put the dates on there, and all this information can be found on our website. It's listed below. I'm going to pop it in the chat as well after I'm done speaking. Another thing to talk about, we'd love for you all to participate in, is our President Speaker Series. We're going to have Dr. Peter Hotez. I don't know if you're all familiar with him, but he's a professor at Baylor College of Medicine. He's a pediatrician and virologist, world-renowned physician. And he's going to talk to us about public health and how higher education can play a role in access to public health. Really would love for you all to be there. So please join us. And then also, we have a hashtag that we're trying to get people to use, hashtag big questions. So if you are going to participate, or if you want to share that with your spheres of influence, please go ahead and put some information on your social media and use hashtag big questions. And again, here's the information for the Days of Giving page that you all can access our events, and you can see progress updates. Another thing that I'm excited to talk to you about is coming soon, we're going to have form our Student Alumni Association. So we have about 23 students that are interested. We'd love to get more students involved. If you are interested, after I'm done presenting, I'll pop in our interest survey. You can fill that survey out. It'll come back to us, and then we'll get you some information. We have an upcoming alumni partnership meeting this Saturday. We'd love for you to attend. It'll be from 9 to 11. You don't need to stay the entire time. Before the event, we're going to have a breakfast mixer from 8:30 to 9 a.m. Feel free to join us for that. There'll be some alumni there that you can meet with as well. And yeah, you can attend the alumni partnership meeting in person. It'll be on the second floor of Bayou Building in front of the library, or you can attend virtually. Again, if you'd like to attend either one, just email us at alumni@uacl.edu or my personal email. It'll be on the next page, and we can go ahead and get you the invite link for that. And yeah, back to the Student Alumni Association. It'll be a great opportunity for you to meet alumni. We're going to have some exclusive events for you all to participate in, get some leadership skills going. So please let us know if you're interested. We're really looking to form a student org that is really about you all. So whenever you do become alumni, you're kind of paving the way for your future participation in the actual alumni association. So please get involved. And there's my personal information. I have the alumni email address, my personal UACL email. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Reggie.
Thank you.
No problem. You know what? I think I accidentally made you the main host.
Yeah, no problem. I will shoot that back to you.
Thank you. It was like something about my screen doesn't look right.
You went away. Hold on. Give me 1 second. All right. Let me know when you got it.
Yes.
Cool.
All right. And Alina Thomas has general student organizations announcement.
All righty. Hi, everyone. Let me just quickly share my screen and then I will start off. All right. So I mentioned this last week about the Leadership Experience Development Series. So we just completed one. So we have the next one that's today on 23rd March. So it's today at 3 p.m. And our presenter is Matthew Perry. So he will be talking about his career in student housing, to his commitment to supporting underrepresented students. He has hands-on experience changing the campus climate and breaking down barriers for students. So he will be talking about courageous leadership and showing resilience. So you can join this workshop to learn more about how you can be a courageous leader. Our next our next workshop is on 2nd of April. It's the Myers-Briggs Types Indicator Workshop, and it will be hosted by Charles Crocker. You do need to register by March 29th in order to attend this session. And basically during the session, participants will learn about their unique and impactful leadership style using this system. And the session will include fun and interesting activities that will help participants understand their leadership strengths and blind spots. And our next workshop will be hosted by Asia Rodriguez. It's called Leading with Consistency, Communication, and Vulnerability. And she will be basically discussing how to be a leader with consistent and clear expectations. And she has years of experience with supervision, so that she has a lot of tips and tricks to share as well. So please do join us for that workshop. And the last one will be called the Zoom Fatigue, which will be hosted by Counseling Services. And it is on 20th April. So that pretty much covers our leadership workshop. And I do have one more announcement. So I will quickly switch over to that screen as well. Just give me 1 second. So we do have our big event coming up on April 10th. It's this large volunteering service day project. And it's basically a way to say thank you to our community. So you do need to sign up by April 2nd, and we do hope to see all of you there. And that pretty much covers everything. So yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Alina. Does anybody have any questions about that?
For the big event, for people that want to sign up with their organization,
You can do that too.
they just put their org that they're signing up with, or do they?
There is like in the sign up sheet, it specifies if you're signing up as an individual or as a group, and you can specify that as well.
Okay.
Oh, I was wondering what we were going to be doing for the big event, because I know last year it was last time it was a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. I do believe we have Mohammed, who is in charge of this event, on the call. So I feel like he would answer this question better than me. I'm not sure if he's still on the call.
So for the big event this year, we have a number of sites. Right now we have Target Hunger, which is more into Main Central Houston. And we have a lot of local sites as well. So that includes Armand Bayou, McRae Elementary, Ralph Parr Elementary, and a couple other schools. So we have those places as well. And then we're also looking to go to UHCL Pearland and help them with a new project at the Pearland campus, as well as one service site that will be on campus for those who are going to stay on campus. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Now we go back to our PowerPoint. Now we have everyone's favorite part, open forum.
I actually have two things. I thought one of these was already on the agenda. So I wanted to talk, I'm actually going to divert it over here in a little bit. The Office of Student Involvement and Leadership is working to reestablish the Civic Engagement Coalition here at the University of Houston Clear Lake. The committee is essential to the relationship with the Campus Vote project and will build on prior voter engagement efforts. So based on the work that SGA has done in the past in representing and advocating for students, they're asking for a student representative from SGA to join this coalition. But to give you some more information, I'm actually going to turn it back over to Mohammed from the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. So I don't know how much more I can add to what Derek already said, but the Civic Engagement Coalition is a forum for faculty, staff, and students to come together and contribute to developing out civic engagement programs on campus. So that includes preparing students to vote, that includes dialogues related to the political process and to civic engagement in general, and really anything that you want it to be. The objective of that coalition is not to necessarily do work and create programs and things like that, but to offer ideas and to share those ideas so that we can take it from there, so the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership can take it and implement those ideas. So in that committee, if they say, hey, we'd really like to see more, I don't know, some more debates on campus, right? Or we'd really like to see this, really like to see that. Then the coalition will take those thoughts and ideas and try to transform them into programs and services. Yes, Lisa.
Oh, this isn't in regard to what you're saying. It's about something else.
Okay, cool. If anyone has any question, I don't know, Hiba or Derek, if y'all know how you're doing it or how you would like to choose someone to represent SGA on the committee. So I can turn it back to y'all.
If you would just email SGA, and then we would get you in contact with the proper connection in order to join the coalition. We'd be more than happy to help.
So it seems like we've got a few people that want to talk for open forum.
I got one more thing, and I promise I will be quiet. I promise I will be quiet.
Oh, no, you're good.
I promise. So Dr. Hart has, he emailed us in regards to the University of Houston Black Leadership Network. They've opened their scholarship, and it's open to all universities. So that's Maine, Clear Lake, Victoria, and downtown. So I'm going to put the link to the scholarship application. So if that's something that you're interested in, by all means. Actually, I did it privately. I don't know why I did it privately. I'll put it publicly. Okay, I'm quiet. I'll mute myself.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you. Lisa.
Yes. Hi. So my question is in regards to graduation and the blog that UHCL staff had released on, I believe, March sometime last week. But something that really stood out to me was, how are you going to combine 4 graduating classes for a fall 2021 commencement when most people will be, I don't know, in another state, or the pandemic will still be happening? So how does that make sense to do 4 graduating classes together as opposed to a spring 2021 commencement for students who are desperately needing this? Can somebody answer that for me?
Well, we do have Dr. Hart on the call that I think, and maybe we have somebody from the graduation planning committee that might be able to answer that as well.
So first of all, good afternoon, SGA. Good afternoon, Hawks. I actually put a private message that I wanted to be on the agenda of the open forum for this discussion. So Lisa, let me actually go back and say, let me talk about spring, and then I want to go ahead and answer your question. So as you all know, there was the YouTube video, there's the petition. We have several students who have said, hey, we want to have an in-person graduation. And so in response to the students that wanted to have an in-person graduation, I wanted to let everyone know that we have just as many students that want to have a virtual graduation. They just didn't sign a petition because the idea was to have the graduation this spring virtually. However, if we had had an in-person graduation, I do want to make note that we'd have just as many students to say, hey, I'd like to have a virtual graduation and not attend. But having said that piece right there, the compromise and what we will get more information out to the group is the actual ceremony may be virtual. However, we still will have an in-person car parade where we will incorporate some ideas into the car parade that comes around to see if we can have opportunities to have more an optional in-person, option for that piece right there. That's for the spring. But Lisa, to answer your question about the fall, although I can't speak to the graduation committee, and if there's someone on here now that wants to speak to that piece, the one thing I can say is that we would like to involve SGA and the senators in any way possible to discuss how we will move forward with graduations past this spring 2021. And so, and to involve a student voice. So Hiba, one of the things that I'll look for your leadership on is whether we invite our graduation staff to a meeting or we have a different subcommittee, I would like to encourage students to participate. And Lisa, if that's something that you're passionate about, I would really appreciate your participation in that, and anyone else in SGA as we look past graduations from spring of 2021. But that is something I wanted to open up.
So, Dr. Hart.
Please, come on, Elba, you know how we roll.
I'm gonna go at you full force here,
Please,
right?
Absolutely.
I'm
Go
gonna
for it.
dig it
You know
out.
how we do it. Come on.
All right. Okay. So there's a few comments that I'm getting here, right? So first of all, why wasn't SGA already involved? Why are we now waiting until spring 2021 for the petition is already out? Like students have complained so much and it's very clearly bothering them.
Yeah.
And now the decision is being made to include SGA. Why wasn't that done before? Because this is something that really, really directly affects students.
Absolutely. So I think first and foremost, you know, we had so many different things going on, and I know we tried to have a more coordinated, you know, attack. And to be honest with you, some balls were dropped on our end in the administration, and it got to the point where you know we wanted to look at safety protocols. And I know the state of Texas is officially quote unquote open, and I know that's what everyone is you know looking at right now. Like I say, you know me, I don't make excuses. And I honestly think that, you know, we could have did a better job of having a more coordinated approach involving everyone. But to be honest with you, there were so many different things going on. I will tell you this right now. One of the things we're going to try and do moving forward is invite Dr. Lee Young. I'm sure many of you are aware we now have a new vice president for strategic enrollment management that oversees the registrar's office. And so we're going to invite Dr. Young to one of our future meetings for SGA so everyone can have an opportunity. But we would like to figure out a way with SGA's suggestion of how do we involve students in this conversation moving forward.
All right, thank you.
So you know I don't make excuses. I mean, can we do better on things? Absolutely.
All right, so we're getting a few questions.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep going, right?
Please ask
So
away.
I'm gonna scroll a little bit up. I think some people really want to know who's on this committee. Like who is sitting
You
there?
mean as far as the students go?
No, just everyone. Like who is on the graduation committee
So
deciding this?
So once again, this is interesting. I thought you knew something because you said something about if there's someone on here for graduation.
I mean, I know Patrick's on there.
Yeah.
Patrick's the head, but
I can
Okay,
speak
so
to that if people don't mind me addressing that.
please.
So I think one thing people need to understand is it's this committee, the commencement planning committee is just that. It's a programmatic planning committee, much like you see in all the other offices across campus. Our office, orientation, the list goes on. There's planning committee meetings and advisory committee meetings. So we're not the ones that ultimately make the decisions. We're the ones that recommend the pros and the cons and the recommendations up to administration for them to make the decisions. Basically what this committee is basically the workhorses to make what the commencement you all normally see in person happen, because it takes a lot of movable parts and a lot of logistics. So my representation on the committee is obviously on behalf of SGA and the students, representing the student platform committee and the logistics behind the scenes that it takes to get those students recruited, onboarded, and ready to go for the commencement program. The commencement committee, planning committee consists of myself, so that would be the Division of Student Affairs and Office of Student Involvement and Leadership, the Office of Alumni Engagement and University Advancement, and University Communications, led by the registrar.
Right. Let's see. We have a few
Thank you,
more
Patrick,
questions.
for that.
Yes, thank you, Patrick. Okay, I'm gonna just read, right? Let's see. Can parking lot graduation be done outside? Strict guidelines can still be followed.
So to answer that question specifically, I cannot speak to any specific alterations or changes for spring of 2021. The one thing I will say though is and I'm not trying to put extra work on any particular person, if folks want to send me suggestions or ideas, I will definitely forward those along. As you all know, graduation does not necessarily live in the Division of Student Affairs. It is, like Patrick said, it's a joint effort. And once again, I will make sure that I pass any suggestions along. And Hiba, once again, I want to make sure, however SGA wants to do it, to establish a group of students to involve in the conversation, or to have, maybe we can have an emergency meeting or something like that, and to put that group in front of the group that Patrick mentioned.
Yeah.
Hey, Mel, I have a question and I would like to speak because I see that we're at 12:27 and I have asked in the chat if I could speak.
Yeah, you may go ahead.
Yeah, so I have several questions and that I would like to address. And I just also on the record want to say that I'm not representing any student organizations at this time. So I'm not representing Lisa. I'm standing as a student, particularly a graduating senior student. And so Dr. Hart, you have really kind of made your plea with when you joined UHCL that you shoot from like you're going to tell it like it is, you're going to be honest with us, you've made that promise and that pat with us. I think that's why so many students fell in love with you when you first got on this campus, and we really had a lot of hope for you, and we believe you in what you say, and so same with other people on this call. So with that being said, the ball was dropped. And you want to say, you're not making excuses, but there seems to be a lot of excuses. And this conversation of getting a lot of students together after spring 2021, like, I just need y'all to be real. Like, if this was you, if you can just go back to when you were going to cross that stage, like, that's like, come on, like, we as students, we deserve transparency. We deserve to have this opportunity. Another thing that we spoke a little bit about, just as many, we have over 16,000 signatures on that petition. And so you had said there's about as many students who want a virtual. So then are you here to tell me that those students get to reign over their opinion matters more over the students who have signed, their families who have written, people who have signed that petition? I'm just trying to understand what the logic was to listen to those student voices as opposed to these students' voices who have made this petition.
So once again, like I said, I'm not disagreeing with anything that you have said. And no, I didn't say that we had just as I said, if we had had the graduation in person, let's say we said, okay, we're going to have an in-person graduation. I said we'd probably have just as many students then sign a petition to say, and this is once again, me making an assumption. I'll tell you that right now, just based on student voices that we're hearing that have said, they didn't want to have it in person because of elderly parents or elderly grandparents. All I'm saying is that you would have just as many students. The reason we have this petition is because the decision was made to have it virtually. And if we had made a decision to have it in person, we would have had a different core group of students to say, hey, we'd rather have the, graduation virtually. So, but to get back to your other point, which I think is, extremely, important, a lot of times we do make decisions and we don't take everything into, consideration, Eric. And I'm serious. I'm not going to make an excuse and say, oh, this was done because of this, that, or the other. We could have did a better job. And some things we do well and some things we completely, screw up. And that's a fact right there. We were looking at the data, and this was a data-driven decision just based on where we are with, COVID-19. Also, and I'll be honest with you and straightforward, we have seen a lot of resistance, not only in Harris County, but even on this campus of students and faculty. I won't say faculty, but people who, let's put it this way, people on campus within the past couple of weeks who have refused to put on masks. And we know that even if we had a mask mandate for graduation, we would not be able to remove people who refuse to wear a mask. Okay, there's no laws or legislation in place right now that if we had an in-person graduation and we said, hey, everyone has to wear a mask, and you had someone that says, well, you know what, I'm not going to, wear my mask. We don't have anything in place, and nor do I know if we'd want to physically remove someone from that space, right? And so therefore that was part of the decision making that was in place right there. Like I say, it's not an excuse. I promise you that.
And respectfully,
that's
And respectfully, I do have to, I just have to interject because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add, it doesn't line up with the university having events like blood drives, the big event, Hawks for Community. And I'm not trying to say Hawks for Community needs to stop. No, I'm not saying that. So I just want everybody here on this call to know that I'm not saying that, but it does not add, it doesn't add up. And also if the university cared about student taking, possibly taking COVID to their elderly parents, then all student interns, all service sites, all interns where we have direct contact with community members, all of those would be canceled.
Yeah.
University wide. I just don't understand. I don't understand it. It's not making sense.
Erica, let me say this, and I don't, once again, this is just how it is right here. Not to say I agree with it or you will agree with it, but it all is about the number of participants. So as you know, with the COVID guidelines, whether it's in Harris County on our campus, there's a threshold based on the number of participants. So whenever any entity on campus proposes an in-person activity, it must get approved by our emergency resources on campus. And one of the first questions is, how many people are going to participate? And if you go over a certain threshold in a certain amount of space, that is what triggers a no response. So not to say, I'm just responding to your question, that is the protocols that are in place. It's based on the number. So that's why we can have some events that are approved versus others because of the number of participants that we expect.
Yeah, and our data shows that the trend for graduates at UHCL is around 1,500 students. And so our sister campus, U of H Maine, they're having way more than that. And so many other institutions are able to creatively come up with solutions. And I just, a university who prides themselves in having student voices at the table and prides themselves in innovation and being called Space City. We're right next to NASA, and we can't come up with a creative solution on how to accommodate both sets of students.
Yeah, I once again, like I said, I'm not arguing with you or disagreeing with you in this space right here. Once again, I think that,
I think, I'm sorry, I hate to interject now, but I would recommend taking this conversation outside of this platform now. The time is 12:35. This meeting is over. I appreciate you all bringing your concerns to open forum. If you would like to continue this discussion next week during open forum, we can do that, but I highly recommend setting up a one-on-one meeting with the graduation committee or the people that are directly involved in making this decision. If you would like our support in that and you would like student government to be there at the meeting to help elevate your voices, you're more than welcome to reach out to us via email. There are multiple ways I can be reached everywhere, and along with the rest of the team, we'll be happy to support you. Now is just not the time anymore. It's 12:35. So thank you all for your attendance. I appreciate your time. The quote of the day is winning is fun, but those moments that you can touch someone's life in a very positive way are better. The time is 12:35 and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming.